What's going on? What's going on? It's Lady Dre, and welcome to Healing Session. I hope that you're having an amazing, abundant, prosperous, loving, fulfilling, masterful, purposeful, harmonious day. I hope that this message finds you well. Okay, so we are at day 16 for Drecember, so woo woo. Yeah, so if you have not already checked out Drecember day 14 and 15. Make sure that you check that out. We're talking about relationships. That's going to be part one. So if you have not listened to that already, make sure you go ahead and check that out. But for now, we're going to talk about part two, and part two is how to heal from past relationships, right? And so, like I said, if you already listened to the previous video, you already know that we talked about relationships and just how they can be a mirror for your growth and evolution, right? And so, the thing with healing from past relationships, it can be difficult because if you have not already healed from certain things, as far as even your childhood, you're just adding more baggage onto just that pile of things that you need to heal from, right? So say if you are in one relationship and then you leave that relationship and jump right into another relationship, you haven't even healed from that, and so you're just piling more stuff on for you to be able to heal, and then it just becomes even bigger and bigger, and then you're wondering why you're so triggered when you're in your current relationship because you haven't healed from past relationships. And so what I find is that it is important for you to be able to take the time for yourself to be able to heal, to focus on yourself. And I know that society at times looks down on people that are single or that are not in relationships, or they feel like, oh, well, something might be wrong with me because I'm not in a relationship, or don't nobody want me, and not knowing that it could truly be a blessing in disguise, the reason as you are in your singleness, And there's nothing wrong with being single. It's nothing wrong with being in a relationship, There's a season for everything. But what I find is that sometimes people do not take the proper steps in order to heal from their previous relationships, and they just jump right into the next relationship. And so it is important for you to take that time for yourself. Take that time to be able to understand, where you are. Reflect on why the relationship ended. Reflect on whether, reflect on your part. Take accountability for your part, because again, you can't take accountability for them, but you can take accountability for your part, right? Reflect on your part, because at the end of the day, you can be on the side of that you did everything right, or you felt like you did everything right and they took advantage of that, or you can be on the other side where you might have been the one taking advantage of someone being kind and generous to you. Whatever the situation is, it's important for you to be able to take that time for yourself to heal, right? And if you don't do that, you will find yourself in those situations where you're not trusting of your mate, right, or your partner. You are, you feel insecure about certain things. You move in a way where you feel like everybody's sneaky, everybody's shady. And who wants to be in a relationship where, there's no trust there, right? There's no accountability there. But again, if you are willing to take that time for yourself to be able to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take this time for myself to be able to heal from my insecurities. I'm going to take the time to, focus on and heal from the traumas that I've had, whether it's from from childhood, whether it's from, teenage years, whether it's from even being a young adult. I'm going to take that time for myself because I owe that to myself. I owe that to myself to be able to have healthy relationships, right? And if that means that I have to take out time for myself to be in my singleness, to focus on me, then I'm willing to do that. And that's, again, how you show up for yourself. That's how you show up from healing from those past relationships, because you're setting the attention to say, hey, you know what, I want to work on me first before I go into another relationship. Not being able to trust, not being able to be vulnerable, not being able to be emotionally available, not being able to to allow myself to be able to grow, right? And so, of course, yes, is it easier said than done? Absolutely. Most things are when it comes to the spiritual journey of healing, of overcoming, of being self-acceptance of yourself, because the reality is that there's a lot of things that we have to not only unlearn, but to learn all over again, to heal, and really to be in this space of acceptance, right? And not being in a space to be the victim, but also to say, okay, yeah, that may have happened to me, but what did I learn from it? Did I overcome it? And I'm going to show up, as my best self, because even though they try to, break me down, even though they try to manipulate me, even though they try to do whatever there is to get you in a space where you don't show up as your best self, like you overcome that by doing the work, right? You overcome that by taking the time to properly heal, to properly be aware of your traumas, of your triggers, of the things that have allowed you to, again, not, be your best self. But it does start with awareness, and so I say that if you want to be able to heal from a past relationship, you need to be able to be real with yourself and ask yourself, okay, this relationship didn't work because was I too codependent? Was I too needy? Was I giving too much of myself where I didn't even require anything from this person? So then you have to ask yourself, okay, well, why do I feel the need to overcompensate in relationships? Why do I feel the need to give my all and not require nothing from my partner? You have to ask yourself those hard questions, and sometimes those questions are a lot to deal with, because in reality you understand that you are shortchanging yourself, and no one wants to have that realization of knowing that you are shortchanging yourself. And so, but when you have those hard, when you ask yourself those hard questions and even answer them in truth, you begin to be able to pull back those layers of being able to heal just why you are accepting of crumbs, why you're accepting of someone not, being respectful to you. Why do you like that, someone mistreating you or talking down to you? Why do you feel that that's acceptable? And ultimately, you'll get to a point where you will set the intention for you to want better for yourself, to want to have healthy relationships, to want to show up in healthy relationships, right? To do your part. But it starts with you healing those aspects of yourself that have allowed you to think that it's okay. And again, like I said, in those relationships, people are really just the mirrors of how you feel about yourself. And I know you may say, well, how is that so? It's so because if you didn't feel that way about yourself, you wouldn't accept half of those things. You wouldn't settle for half of those things, And listen, across the board, we all have things that we have to work on. None of us are perfect. None of us have all the answers. But, I'm here to be able to, share my experiences, share with you the things that have allowed me to be able to grow, to be able to evolve, in my spiritual journey, in my healing journey. But it took time. It took time for me to understand why was I accepting of low vibrational men. Why was I so desperate to want to be loved and want to be cared for? Why was I willing to accept, pennies? Why was I so willing to allow somebody to talk down on me? Or why was I so willing to allow somebody to, project their insecurities onto me, where I would change who I was or make sure that I would dim my light in order for them to feel like they were big and better. Why was I accepting of that? And it took time for me to be able to be in a space to have those hard conversations with myself, to sit there and say, that's not cool. So why would you want to be with somebody that's insecure? What's going on with you where you feel like it's okay for you to be with an insecure man? If you know that you have confidence, if you know that you show up, or at least are trying to show up as your best self, why is it okay for them not to be able to show up as their best self? Again, but you have to be willing to say, you know what? I'm going to take this time for myself, even if that means I have to be patient and be single. In this time of my patience and in this time of my singleness, I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to work on those things that I need to heal. I'm going to work on those things that, are areas that I have maybe been laxed in. I'm going to work on that little girl, right? Or that little boy version, right? You have to be able to take that time for yourself. And so if that means that you cut off friends, if that means that you cut off partners, lovers, if that means that you're cutting off family, then so be it. Because ultimately, you have to be able to take that time for yourself to be able to grow and evolve, and to understand the importance of you being in a space of knowing your worth, knowing, your self love, your you have to know this for yourself. But it takes time, and so I encourage you to heal from those past relationships, heal from that trauma, heal from that drama, and just know that you are worthy of having healthy relationships. You are worthy of having, amazing partners. You are worthy of having, loving, and kind and reciprocal friendships, family, and all that stuff, whether in a job, friends, family, whatever, like I said. So I encourage you to take the time for yourself. It's okay. It's a daily thing, but you will be so glad that you did it. Okay? And just remember, consistency is key. Consistency is key. Every day, make sure that you show up for yourself. Every day, show up for yourself. Be mindful and know that you are worthy. All right? I love y'all, and y'all be easy.